out of Harvard Business School, I ended up joining the corporate finance department in Morgan Stanley. And after being in that arena and with a focus on corporate finance, public finance, it's one of those things where one day you're called into the head of the corporate finance department who says, how would you like to go into the real estate group, Lynn, having not taken the real estate course at Harvard Business School. And at the time, my assignment in the corporate finance department was the metals and mining group. So I went through aluminum smelters and copper mines.
Interesting, okay.
And when suited up at Morgan Stanley, you play the game, for sure. But the idea that I would move into an area that was focused on office buildings, shopping centers, multifamily residential, seemed a little more relevant to me than metals and mining. So I was in that area for quite some time. Doing the typical sales and brokerage activities. When one day I was asked if I would participate in an assignment for AT&T for their pension fund on what their real estate investment program should be. And that was sort of my introduction and made me the pension fund real estate investing sort of expert, something different that nobody else was doing at Morgan Stanley Realty. The most important thing in the culture is the ethics for me. And that reputation that I described as the lack of transparency and the lack of open communication with our clients, the not putting ourselves in their shoes and trying to understand where they were coming from because of our poor performance. The trite expression is just do the right thing. And I've always believed in that and felt very strongly that if you do the right thing, the clients will support you and it will take you through the tough times as well as the good times. This is about the best way. You can share what you do and what we do, but the whole premise should be start with a blank piece of paper and what is the right way to do an investment process, an asset management process, an accounting and reporting process. Mistakes made and lessons learned, I will tell you, is that it was pretty apparent from early on who the best leaders were going to be. And I think we took the easy way out for too long, which was to make co-heads of too many different functional areas.
But you wanted the leaders to emerge, right?
Yes.
Or they had emerged, but you wanted to recognize the ones that had.
Right, and I think somewhat on investment performance, but even more on your relationship with your clients, having your clients come to the view that you are not being transparent with them, you're not communicating with them, you're not listening to them. That is hard to turn around and takes a long time to actually mend.
You created roles for leaders that were emerging in the organization. What were the characteristics of those leaders?
I think the basic characteristics are pretty constant. And I put ethics first, doing the right thing within our organization. A cultural fit within our organization. We are a collaborative, team-oriented organization. We are not looking for star players. So that's very important. We are bricks and mortar people, so our people very much get into the details of the location of the assets and the quality of the assets and the tenancy in the assets. We're not allocators. So that skill set and interest is crucial. For those leaders, it's also their willingness to make decisions and assume responsibility for those decisions. It's taking action. I mean, it is absolutely necessary to do your homework and do your analysis, but you can also find a number of really bright people who get into analysis paralysis and they're not willing to pull the trigger and say, okay, I've done enough homework, it's time to tell my people that I've listened to them, but here's where we're going. We can always course correct, and you've got to be willing to step up and say, hey, I know I told you 6 months ago we were going to go in this direction, but I've learned some other things, and now I'm going to tell you we're going to adjust that in some way. But you have to have people who will make some tough decisions.
Talk to me a little bit about balance and how you made it work for you.
You know, unfortunately, I think certainly when I went through the early and middle stages of my career, it was total focus on the business and then on family. And the personal and the community took a very distant third and fourth place. Am I proud of that? No, I can look back and perhaps wish I had done things a little bit differently. But on the other hand, to get to a position of absolute leadership, and particularly for a woman in those days, took an incredible amount of heavy lifting on the job of making sure that I did absolutely everything and did it to the best of my ability. I was very fortunate that not community but sort of industry-wise, Buzz McCoy had said to me, get involved in an industry association, Lynn. So in some ways that did a couple of things for me. It allowed me to give a little bit to an industry association. It gave me leadership positions at an early age, and it gave me visibility. And I think that activity made a huge difference in the opportunity that was given to me when I went to ABKB, and then the reputation I had when LaSalle was acquiring ABKB that allowed me to step right into that co-CEO position. In terms of family, family has got to also be right up there, and you know, in my mind, those years go by so quickly with your family, your children, that you need to make sure you find the right time. And it's not, for me, it wasn't the quantity of time, it was the quality of time. And I think that it really takes a lot of self-introspection to say, what's right for me? And everybody has different circumstances. Some children and families need more time. I was very fortunate that I had two children who went very smoothly through their early and teenage years. And I think I did my balance in a certain way that worked for me, worked for my husband, who was hugely supportive, and worked for my children. But I think everybody is still really struggling to increase diversity and help women in their career development. I think ULI and its WLI, Women's Leadership Initiative, are doing great things today to help that, but we still have a lot more to do. Every past chair of ULI that I talked to said, Lynn, you will work hard, but you will get more than you give. And they were absolutely right. It is a privilege to serve for ULI. It is just inspiring to travel around the world to various events and national councils and district councils for ULI and see the commitment and engagement that the volunteer members of ULI have for this industry and their desire to give back to the industry and to make this world a better place for future generations. Human capital in our business is the most valuable asset, that it rides down the elevator every night, and our ability to attract and retain the best talent for whatever that position is, and for our company and its culture and its ethics. But too often we're giving it lip service and we're not giving it the time and attention it needs. And the thing that I would point to when I say that as evidence of it is that I am involved with a number of boards of companies and funds, and I think about our strategic plan and our business plan. And in the investment management business, we talk about how much capital will we raise, how much will we invest in what types of investments, and of course, what our investment performance will be. It is rare that a piece of that strategic plan is focused on attracting and retaining our talent. Right there, front and center.
A starting point.
A starting point for our strategic plan and for our business plan. And I think that a big part of that is also talent development. You know, if you think somebody someday has the potential to rise up to be one of your most senior people, have you moved them from functional area to functional area? Have you moved them geographically to the various places where you operate? And if you haven't done that, it not only is constraining that individual's career development, but you're not maximizing that talent for the company.
Right.